the indefinite integral. Okay, let's take a look at the derivatives of our trig functions, our 6 trig functions, and then we'll look at what the antiderivative, which goes back to the original function, looks like. So let's consider all these the original function. Let's say f of x. Then we're going to look at the derivative of each one. So the derivative of sine of x with respect to x will be the cosine of x. Next, the derivative of cosine of x with respect to x will be a negative sine x. Next, I'm going to take the derivative of tangent of x with respect to x. And here we'll get the secant squared x. Next, the derivative of the cosecant of x. That was a little tough to remember, but it's all c's. So that'll be negative cosecant of x times cotangent of x. The derivative of the secant of x will be secant x times the tangent of x. Then finally, the derivative of the cotangent of x will be our negative cosecant squared of x. Okay, so an antiderivative of these functions would give us our original. So let's take a look at the antiderivatives. The antiderivative of the cosine, which is the integral, and dx, and again we're looking at we're assuming that this is the derivative function, would be again sine of x. The antiderivative of sine of x with respect to x would be cosine of x with a negative. The antiderivative of the secant squared of x would be the tangent of x. The antiderivative of the product of cosecant x and tangent of x would equal the negative cosecant of x, okay, which is multiply both sides by the negative. The antiderivative of the product of the secant x and tangent x, dx here, would be secant x. And finally, the antiderivative of the secant squared of x, dx here, would equal negative cotangent. Okay. Now, one special note, these antiderivatives here, or the integrals here, are indefinite integrals, are indefinite because they do not take you back to the parent function. What they take you to instead is the family of functions. And you have to show that you're only going back to the family by saying plus c, or some constant on each one of these. Once we're able to find out c, we'll go from the original family to the original parent function. So let me show you how to get back to the original parent function from the family of functions. Here we have a function which is cosecant squared of x minus 1/2 sine x. and we're looking to go back to the original parent function. So we're going to take an antiderivative of this. And we also know that within the family, that if you put in a 1/4 angle, or sorry, pi-4th angle, you should get a 2 out of the parent function. So, starting with the antiderivative, cosine of x minus 1/2 sine x, and then dx. Okay, the antiderivative of this, of the cosecant squared, should be a negative cotangent. So that's a negative cotangent of x. Then minus the 1/2. And the antiderivative of the sine of x, right here, is a negative cosine of x. And because we're only going back to the family, we say plus c. So this is our function f, the family of f. So f would be negative cotangent of x plus 1/2 cosine of x plus c. And we're told that with the parent, if you put in pi quarters, we should get a 2. So this should all equal 2 if we put in pi quarters in each of these. So cotangent, here pi quarters plus 1/2 cosine of pi quarters plus c. And this will turn to a value, this will turn to a value. We take both values and we put it on the other side, and we'll have the value of c. So let's get the cotangent. A quarter angle, I think that's going to be 1. So 2 minus 1. And the reason why I knew that is that because the quarter angle is right about there, okay? And both x and y are the same values. And so the cotangent is simply your x divided by y. So this value divided by this value, which is going to be 1. Plus 1/2. Now we're talking about the cosine for the same place. The cosine here, which is your x value, is going to be pi, square root of 2 over 2. Okay, I'm going to simplify this and put this all on the other side. So, adding 1 to both sides, I get 3. Subtracting this from both sides, I get minus pi over 2 fourths. And that's going to be equal to c. Now, I can combine that to be one term. And let's go ahead and do it. This will be multiplied by 4 over 4, which will give us 12 fourths. Okay, so we have our constant here. 12 minus square root of 2, all divided by 4. Therefore, we can conclude that the parent function, let me put the positive first, is 1/2 cosine x minus sine x plus this term right here. Okay. So, whereas this would be the family of functions, sorry, this is the family of functions, this is the parent function.